Awesome. This facility Fridays, we're going to be talking about life safety equipment. So thank you for showing up for this exciting, thrilling topic. So I'm going to try to make this as painless as possible. We're going to save all the questions until the end, and then we'll have for a question and answer. So if you have a question that's burning, please hold on. I'm going to try to get through this with what little voice I have left. So life safety equipment, there's several, and we're going to kind of go through the list here, and we're going to start life safety equipment covered. We're going to talk about the smoke detectors, monitored versus local. We'll get to what that means in a second. We're going to be talking about pendants, pull cords, and motion monitors. All right. All the exciting stuff that we sometimes take for granted, but also sometimes are very aware of depending on the situation. So we'll get through all of that. The first thing we're going to talk about is a smoke detector. And as I mentioned before, there are two kind of types. There's the monitored and the local. And the difference is, so the monitored, let's just talk about the monitored. The monitored is, they both do the same thing, but the monitored is sort of routed through our internal monitoring system. It actually is more than internal. It goes to, we have an off-site company that sort of monitors that too, as well as the fire department. So what does that all mean? That means if there's a smoke, if it detects smoke in an apartment or in a hallway or in on Horizon House property, it will send an alarm. You'll hear it, an audible alarm in that area, and if that isn't at a certain amount of time, it will also. Sorry, let me go back. You'll hear that alarm there. It will also notify us at the fire panel and the front desk. And if that alarm isn't, if we don't, engineers will come to that spot and sort of investigate. And if they determine that it's a false alarm or something that they can handle, then they'll silence that alarm and, of course, deal with the issue. It can be smoke. It can be. I've seen it react to like paint or dust. They're very sensitive, and but they're needed. So the monitored is just that. It's monitored not only by engineers at Horizon House, by off-site monitoring company, but it is also monitored by the Seattle Fire Department. The monitored smoke detectors are located throughout the campus and in your apartments. What does that mean? In your apartments, these devices, if you're cooking bacon, which who doesn't love bacon? Let's be honest. Yummy. No, not a fan. All right, just me. If you're cooking something, and sometimes it can get smoky, it might set off one of these alarm or one of these smoke detectors. The monitored smoke detector will send a signal. It'll go off in your apartment. You'll hear an audible noise. At the same time, there will be an audible noise for the facilities team. And at that point in time, they will come and investigate. What I encourage you to do, if that ever happens, is open a window and turn on the vents in your apartment. What I suggest, what we don't want you to do is open the front door. And that seems kind of counterintuitive, but I'm going to explain what happens then. If you open the front door and it's just, bacon, some of us love it, some of us don't. If we open the front door and that smoke gets into the hallway and sets off the alarm in the hallway, it sends a different signal because it thinks that the fire has spread. When that happens, the fire department comes. So we encourage you not to open the front door unless the fire is, if there's an actual fire and it is beyond your control. Some apartments, they have fire extinguishers, small fire extinguishers, or a way to put out a fire. If it's a pan or something that you can control that. But if that's the only time if there's that we suggest you open the door, because we want the fire department to come. Does that make sense? So if to kind of go back, if it's just something that's smoking or cooking or an accident, we encourage you to open the windows and turn on. There's a vent usually over the fan, the hood, and kind of get the smoke to dissipate. That being said, because the alarm went off, there will be a facilities person to come visit your apartment. They have to. They have to come in. They have to inspect and investigate in order to rule out that fire is, if there's a fire or not. They have to determine that. So we have to let them in. I know sometimes people like to cook in their bathrobe and they're not sort of ready for the world, but in a situation like that, they're not really, they're just looking at the fire. Okay. So that's the monitored system. The local system is basically, some apartments have them. It's just it does the exact same thing, only it isn't connected to the building. And sometimes those go off as well as the monitored, but just know that the local doesn't send a signal to the fire department or the engineers in the building. Now, the monitored smoke heads are located in areas like they're located close to the kitchen and various parts of the apartment. The local can be located in other places, but they do the same job. The only thing I'm going to say about the local is they're also wired into the system. There are no batteries or anything that they're powered into that. But they do have a backup battery. And sometimes you might hear a beeping in your apartment. And we've all had smoke detectors in our apartments or our homes. And we've heard like when a battery goes out, there's a beeping. So the local, you could hear that beeping. And what I would suggest is not trying to change the batteries itself, the backup battery. Just put a work order in the front desk and an engineer will take care of that. All right? So that's kind of the gist with the two types of smoke detectors, kind of how they work and what they're used for. We're going to move on to pendants and pull cords. Now, these are also monitored. All the safety equipment that I'm talking about today is monitored. It's monitored. We're going to talk about the two types of devices. So the pendant, everyone should have, and that's a way that you can it's a button. You can wear it. There's several different ways. There's a necklace and there's a watch. And you can press this if you have a fall or if you're not feeling well, and medical attention, Horizon House medical attention will come to your apartment. Also, outside of your apartment, if you're in the we're right here in the fireside. If you're where we are right now. Sorry, I really apologize. I really did leave my voice at the stadium. But if you're in Anderson Hall and you press it, there are monitors throughout the campus that will sort of triangulate where you are, and we'll know not only who you are, if you're wearing the proper pendant, but where you are, and the medical attention will come to you. So we encourage people to wear them because you never know where you're not going to be feeling well, or maybe there's a fall, or you'll need some medical assistance. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're inside Horizon House, it will triangulate, and medical attention will be able to find you. Again, if there are two different types. This is a newer type of pendant, and floating here with the blue button. It is monitored, like I said, and we encourage people to wear them all the time. The other device I want to talk about is the pull cord. Pull cords are, do we have one in here? Wow. They're in various spaces in Horizon House, definitely in your apartments, and that's the same thing. If you have a fall or there's a medical emergency, you can pull this cord and it'll it's because it's monitored. It'll know exactly where you are, and you'll get some medical attention. The thing about the pull cord and the pendant is they're great devices because, like I said, it's wired into the system, and they're going to know exactly where you are. Both of these have batteries, and again, with the monitoring of these systems, it sends a signal daily, letting us know the health of the battery in the pendant and the pull cord. And engineers are tasked with checking this daily. And they will, if it gets a low battery alert, they will replace the pendant because it's built into the pendant and with a new one. And they'll also replace the batteries in the pull cord. It's important that they do this because if the battery gets low, then the device doesn't work. And we want to make sure that you're covered while you're in Horizon House. It'll generate a low battery and the engineers will see that. They will then reach out to you and your house, your apartment, and try to set up a time to change your batteries. So it's really important to let them know or communicate with them so they can get that done. We don't want people to be walking around without the pendant or the pull cord working. The other thing about the like I said, the pendant, you can have a necklace or a watch band. The pull cord, the thing you should check for is it's supposed to be 3 to 6 inches off the ground, the cord itself, and we want to make sure that it's not wrapped around anything, grab bars or anything like that to get it out of the way. We want to make sure that it is actually hanging and unobstructed. There have been a couple of instances since I've been here as an engineer where that's happened and a resident's fallen and they can't reach it because it's out of the way, or they go to pull it and it can't pull because it's wrapped around something. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. Again, these systems are monitored daily, and we want to make sure that everyone's covered.
Mark, can I make a comment about pull cords and pendants?
Absolutely.
If it's in the apartment, most likely reception is going to try to call the apartment first.
They will.
Because they are sensitive and sometimes they accidentally get set off.
I was gonna get to that.
But if you do not answer that phone,
I was gonna get to that. Yes.
They're going to send a nurse.
They will. Yeah. So we're talking about processes. So it's really important with the pendant, especially that we're wearing the right pendant. If you're married or you have a partner, you want to make sure you're wearing the right pendant. If I'm wearing a pendant that's not mine, they're gonna think that you're somebody else. So we want to make sure that we're wearing the right appropriate pendant. And again, if there's a pendant to kind of go over what she was talking about, if there's a pendant press or a pull cord, there will be a phone call first before they send somebody. If no one answers the phone, someone is absolutely coming to that apartment because they believe it's an emergency. Pendants and pull cords get pulled accidentally all the time. And sometimes when that happens, you can kind of, if you pull it, just be prepared for the phone call. It's coming. You don't have to call the front desk to let them know that happened, because sometimes if you're calling and they're trying to call you, it doesn't get through, and then they'll send someone. Am I right about that? I got a thumbs up. So that's so I kind of jumped around. I talked about best practices and batteries. But we can go back to testing the device. I do want to say that, reiterate the point that I made earlier, that these devices are checked and they're monitored daily. But if you ever feel like, hey, I just want to check it, the best thing you can do, if you just kind of want to check, is you want to call the front desk and say, hey, I'm going to check my pendant, or I'm going to check this pull cord. And if you let them know, I would stay on the phone, press it, and they'll let you know that the signal came through if you ever want to check that. If you accidentally hit the pull cord, all you have to do is kind of push up on the red lever right here. Just kind of push up on that and it'll reset it. But again, you definitely want to let if it's pulled accidentally, let reception or security call you. Don't try to call them. We don't want them to be on hold and send somebody up. Does that make sense? Am I good? All right. We're going to move on to motion monitors. It's also monitored and just like the pendant and the pull cord, it's a daily report is checked by the engineers to make sure the health of the battery that's inside of the motion monitor. The motion monitor is located in your apartment only. It's not in the hallways or anything like that. And what it does is usually they're in a bathroom that's used or in a place that's used every day. Because everyone goes to the bathroom every day for the most part. And when you pass by it, it senses your motion and lets us know that, hey, you're moving around, things are fine. What happens is if you don't move around, then it sends an alert to reception and they call the apartment. And if you don't answer, they'll send a tower nurse. Am I right? My math's good? Usually that's not an issue. But here's some times where we've seen it. We've kind of run into some problems. Let's say you have an apartment that has 2 bathrooms, and you decide that you're not going to use the master, and you use the other bathroom. Well, you're not setting off that motion in that spot, so it thinks that no one's moving, and it'll trigger that alarm. What you can do if you decide to use a different bathroom or not frequent that bathroom as often is you can put in a work order and have the engineers come up and move it to the bathroom that you use more often. Again, because it's monitored, we'll receive daily, a notification if the batteries are low. And again, like the other 2 devices, the engineers will want to attend to that as soon as possible. So if you get a phone call or a message saying, hey, we got a notification that your batteries are low, whether that be in your pendant or your pull cord or your motion monitor, they'll give you a couple of tries to set up an appointment, but eventually they're going to come and do it anyway because they have to. Okay, so with that, because it's life safety and we take it very seriously, it automatically triggers a permission to enter. Just so you guys know. The other thing with the motion monitor is it's really important if you're going to be traveling to let the front desk know that, hey, I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days and there's kind of a check-in. What that will generate is they will understand that if they don't receive any motion in your apartment, that's because you're not there. But if you don't let them know, they're gonna think that maybe something happened and they'll call your apartment. And if they don't get any answer, of course, then a tower nurse will come up. All right. She's...
Also, for spouses, 2 people in an apartment, say husband uses the master and the wife uses the other bathroom. If one of you are away and the motion monitor is in that person's bathroom, you still need to go to that bathroom and wave whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. That's why you're here, Risa, to keep me straight and honest. But yeah, that's an excellent point. We definitely want to make sure there's motion. Okay, that's my presentation. We have the question and answer. I see a hand waving here. I see one here, and I hear some chatter. So this gentleman here has had his hand up, and he was first.
Mr. Jones.
Again, I apologize about the frog in my throat.
I've been given 2 responses to whether or not the pendant is waterproof. One person said yes it is, another person says no it isn't. Is it?
It is water resistant.
Now, what does that mean?
So that means that if you're in a shower, I would take it off. If you're washing dishes, I would take it off in the shower. I would not have it in the pool. If you ever go to the pool, you might see them around the pool columns.
Right.
So they're not waterproof. They're water resistant.
Well, what about they tell you to wear the wrist one when you're in the pool?
I think that they have them around the pool because some people don't feel comfortable wearing it. It will resist that amount of water because it's not deep and you're not in it for very long.
Okay.
My pendant is probably close to 15 years old. Is it going to die one of these days? I mean, the battery has been replaced.
Sure.
But the basic unit, is it good as long as I'm here?
I think it'll be good, but much like I said earlier, if you want to test it, and again, if you're like, hey, that's a great question. I've had this for a long time. I would call the front desk and say, hey, I just want to check my pendant. Let them know, and then stay on the phone, press the button, and they'll say it's working fine.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, it's working. Okay. This wasn't my question, but the front desk, I first told me that it was water resistant, but the next person I asked, because I'd forgotten to and worn it, and so I'd never had a call about
Right.
it, so at any rate, assured me that you should wear it in the pool, that it was water repellent, and that just don't worry about it. And I have it on all the time for dishes and that sort of stuff.
Sure.
So I don't know, but it probably would be a good idea to get some consistency for people.
I can talk to reception. I think that what they're talking about is people, when we say water resistant, like it's gonna like pool, tub, shower, it's gonna be fine. We just don't want people to, it's a tough line when you say waterproof, then people are, they go on vacation and are in the ocean or whatever. They go, the pool isn't, I think it doesn't get, it's 4 feet deep. I think if you take it past a certain depth or have it in water, if you put it in the washing machine, it's not going to survive a washing machine. So we don't want, we that's why we kind of say water resistant.
Thank you. My real question, I'm sorry, was that my husband had his wristband with his
Yes.
and was in the gym, and I got the call in the apartment. Now I know when in the gym they have pendants that are obviously identified with the gym, but we got a call. I got a call, and it was about him.
Right.
And it showed him in our apartment. So is there a difference in the gym?
Well, it should triangulate, and I don't know. That might be something we have to check on, but it should triangulate. If it senses that your pendant goes off, let's say it goes off in Anderson Hall here, they shouldn't call. They should know that it's here and not in your apartment, and so that should trigger a different response.
Okay, because what I've been trying to get him to do is just leave the wrist one home and put a pendant on down there. I mean, rather than, but that's
Sure, yeah.
hard to manage at times. Yeah.
Yeah, usually, and some people do that, and then others, when they're in the gym, if it triangulates that it's the gym, usually they try to call someone that's like one of the wellness people in the gym to sort of make sure everything's okay.
That was kind of my question, that if you're saying that if you accidentally set off the pendant or if you do it purposely and it's going to make a call, how does it know where you are to call?
So I was primarily talking about the apartment. If you're using a pendant in the apartment, they'll call the apartment. But if you're out and about and it triangulates it, let's say you're here, they shouldn't call your apartment. They will probably more than likely send someone here to investigate.
And that would be the case in like the gym or in the dining room.
Yes.
Or, well, you might see staff or security with the radio looking for someone and saying, oh, okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, we've got one right here.
If you have the wristband, what is it easy to knock something and turn it on inadvertently?
First of all, were you at the game with me the other night? Because your voice. No. Yes, that can happen occasionally. And again, if you are out and about and you hit your pendant, you can call the front desk and say, "Hey, I hit this," and you don't have to send anyone. But if you're at home, I would wait for that call.
Well, how would I know that it had gone off?
Let's say you're washing dishes and you know you hit it, you're gonna get a phone call. But let's say you're here and you know you hit it on your walk or on a chair. You know that you hit it. Then you can make that call if you're aware. And if you're not, somebody's gonna come and see if you're okay.
What about rolling over in bed?
That has happened. What we kind of encourage people to do is to not, unless you're really, is to not wear them and leave them right by your bedside.
Thank you.
So just a comment, I was at in the sewing room at a meeting a week or so ago, and a staff person came down and went up to one person in the meeting and said, "Your pendant just went off. Are you okay?" And she said, "Oh, I'm fine. I had no idea. Sorry."
Yeah.
So they do find you.
They will, yeah. They'll. It triangulates. It works really well.
Or you might get that call from reception saying, "Are you okay? If your pendant has been pulled or tested."
Right. Right. And sometimes, actually, if you're let's say you're in a storage unit or a garage area and it's having a tough time triangulating, they will call your apartment, and if your spouse is there, they can kind of help let them know where you are. Oh, well, he just went to the garage. Oh, he hit his pendant by accident, and it'll kind of help us find the person. Maybe they hit it by accident. Maybe he or she is in trouble in the garage, and they hit the pendant, and it's hard to sort of triangulate in some tough areas in the building.
How far away from Horizon House does this system work?
Really, just outside the doors. If you kind of cross over, there are all kinds of readers. And for example, I'm going to point one out here. Right over Nick's head in this clock, that's one of the sensors that actually help triangulate where the location. And they're all over Horizon House. There'll be another one right outside here, and this one will kind of cover that area. But if you go right outside the walls, it is not a very good chance of sort of tracking where you are. I think in the front area, like the front and maybe these benches, they'll get a signal. But if you go into the street, it's not going to work. Anybody else? You guys have been so kind, and my voice has been cracking the whole time. I appreciate it. Go Mariners. Happy Friday.